the students and what you're working with. And so, no further ado, let's do it. Let's do it. Thanks
for being here. Dr. Gersch from College State University. And a year ago, about now, was the conference in Golden. I don't know if anyone was there. I was not on the agenda at all, but John Carpenter was gracious enough to give me 5 whole minutes on stage in front of everybody. And I announced our intention at CSU to offer a semester-long course in blockchain technology and applications. And that was the best 5-minute investment I've made in years, because so many people came up to me afterwards to say, how can I help? And it's through people like yourselves that that course became real. I have guest speakers from here. I was able to construct something that was really useful. Now, doing this from scratch is a daunting task. Building a 17-week-long course at a university is not something that happens overnight. In fact, it was the cause for much anxiety on my part. Partway into it, I basically said, what the hell have I done with this? But with shameless stealing from Sharknado, I want to explain, we've done sharks now, but they do have teeth, like blocks rotating into the storm. I want to explain to you what we did, why we did it, and what the results were. So, what happens when you take, and this was an amazing, 60 students. I announced the course, this would be a premier course. I expected, and it was a senior level first year graduate student course. I expected 10 people to sign up. I got 60. It hit the limit immediately. Okay, I better make this more serious. Semester long, not an 8-week course, not a 4-week course, 17 weeks. Mix well and unleash students on the real world. And I've got some of my students here with you today, and I'm going to show you some of the stuff they've done. So I call it what we got, a whirlwind of learning. I learned just as much from them as they did from me. And do it. You can't learn without muscle memory. You got to do stuff. So I want to summarize the course, what we did, the projects, and show you just what happened over 17 weeks. 16th semester, the 17th week was the exam. So, architecture, theory, security, platforms, Web3, gaps, distributed, decentralized applications, and of course projects. Keep calm, learn blockchain. Well, we went through an awful lot in these semester-long course. What I'm going to take you through is the curriculum itself, a little bit of week by week, what we covered, just so you know what would you do in 17 weeks. And I have to be honest, when I started this course, I said to myself, how am I going to fill a semester's worth of material in this course? And about 5 weeks into it, I'm like, I don't have enough time. I got too many topics to discuss in this semester. That's how wide and diverse blockchain is. The name of the course was Blockchain Principles and Applications, and I wanted both of those because principles was the theory, the science. How does this thing work? How does this thing not work? How do you break it? What is game theory? What is everything on the inside? After enough of that, you have to say, what are the platforms? After enough of that, you have to say, okay, now that we got it. And of course, the first question I ask of any student is, what's the first word that comes to your mind when I say the word blockchain? Guess what the answer is? Bitcoin. Yes, of course. Because that's all the outside world knows of blockchain. And there's so much more to it than that. So, my first lecture, first day, I told the students, the opportunity for you in taking this class, and I showed them the charts of blockchain development engineers' salaries, is you can easily start a starting salary of $140,000 to $170,000 a year. Better than that, you can start your own blockchain company and make multi-millions. I've been a startup entrepreneur. I've been the chief executive officer, president of cybersecurity companies. I've been in that game. But more importantly, when you finish this course, children and small animals will follow you around. You'll be a leader. So, with that kind of hype, which was my second slide, it's all hype. Where is it all real? We've got to the balancing point. First, baby principles. Let's go on the inside. How does this baby work? In technology terms, it's a linked list on steroids. Oh, it's so much more than that. You really get to the consensus algorithms and things, the trust mechanisms, you really find out what blockchain is all about. Well, let's get a little bit more real. That's the principles. I intermixed. I did not just go all theory and then all applications. I went back and forth because I wanted their hands to get dirty quickly. Let's introduce you to Ethereum and smart contracts. Let's show you how to code in Solidity and use Remix right away. Let's use the real compilers. Let's start importing code from oh, I can't even remember where you get the tokens and things, but all of this, but okay, opens up. Yeah. It only comes to you after you stop thinking about it. And that is a nice, great that we have a blockchain, but you guys have also taken courses in how to do web apps. Let's talk about Web 3. Let's talk about interfacing the outside world to the inside world of blockchain. Let's have you talk to how this stuff actually works. So let's write some React programs, use the Web 3 interfaces, and make games, a lot of stuff like that, just simple applications. And they got it all working. There was actual coding projects. I wanted them, when they came out, to be proficient in the tools of the Anytime you design a new course, you have to think of what are your outcomes. You start with the end of what do you want the students to learn, and how do you plan the semester backwards. You execute it forward, but you have to plan backwards. What do I want them to walk out of here with? What skills? I wanted them to know how to code, how to interface with the outside world, and many other things. I also wanted them to know what are the strengths and weaknesses, the theory. How can you break it? I'm a cybersecurity specialist. I teach also cybersecurity and networking, and I use the Harry Potter method of teaching in cybersecurity. If you don't know what the Harry Potter method is, it's basically in cybersecurity. First we teach you the dark arts. Then we teach you defense against the dark arts. I have to teach them how to rob a bank online, how to break into the university's database and change your grade from an F to an A. I'm deadly serious. I teach them these skills. I'm raising the next generation of criminals. I have to, because it takes a thief to catch a thief. And if you don't learn the skills to attack, you'll never know how to defend. And it's the same thing with blockchain. I go through the consensus algorithms, you'll see those in a bit. I go through the different ways it works, and I say, here's how it works. But we are also a research institute. This thing, it doesn't scale. It takes too long to mine. It has weaknesses. There are ways to game the system. You can cheat on blockchain, but it's immutable. You have to sow credible doubt. Otherwise, people accept this stuff on faith, and that's not science. I teach computer science to learn how this stuff really works. So I teach this. Other things I teach, the tools of the trade, truffle, ganache, drizzle. This is where it starts to get interesting. All the mining algorithms. The proof of what? The proof of work. Let's use up all the electricity in Iceland to do this. Let's use proof of authority. Let's use proof of this, proof of that, proof of I'm the boss. And I said so, mom said so, whatever it might be. I personally think only mothers should be allowed to do consensus arguments. This is the gaming the system. I talk about blockchain mining pools and how you can get a 51% attack rate. Instill fear, uncertainty, doubt. Oh my God, I thought this was a technology that couldn't be broken. Oh yes, it can. Why doesn't it get broken? Because it's not in their interests. They could, but they won't because they lose billions of dollars. So it's still got its weaknesses intrinsic to the system. Mining pools. And this was fun. Blockchain wallets and the curve. I looked at curve cryptography to keep your identities. When I talk about wallets, what we started with in the class was, let's build these applications using Remix. We'll do it on Chrome. And we'll use MetaMask, which is a nice little built-in wallet application to give you a digital ID. And I show them just how much that sucks. That's a technical term in case you've never heard it before. If you're going to have the average human being vote in an election, and you were to say to this average human being, here's how you vote. First you bring up your Chrome browser, load MetaMask. Here's how you use MetaMask. We would never have an election again in our lives. This is not for normal people. You may have not heard the name Austin Griffith, but he came in to give a guest lecture in the class. And he brought in some little pieces of paper with QR codes on them. And he did an onboarding exercise for a fast wallet with a stable coin on it, where everybody, all 60 students in the class, using nothing but the cameras on their cell phones, had wallets and digital identifications within 5 minutes. And used them to do stuff, trade tokens back and forth. That's a pretty significant thing. We had the people from, and I met them here, they came and did a guest lecture in my class from Shapeshift and Kiki, where they brought in the hardware wallets, and they were generous enough to give a hardware wallet to every one of my students. I mean, that was awesome on their part. And then, people started putting real Bitcoin, real Ethereum on here, not just the test beds. So that was kind of fun. I have to be careful with the university because I can't force the students to spend real money. But they were motivated. So, you probably have noticed I like to use weird pictures on my opening slides for every lecture. This is what this sampling of pictures are. Oracles. How do you get things off the chain and from the chain? How do you actually send something to a real bank? How do you look up a random number from a website? You consult the oracle, how that works, doing those kinds of transactions. I showed them how just the tiniest mistake in a Solidity piece of code can let anybody break in and steal all your money. It's a piece of cake, so we actually did that. It was really fun to show them the weaknesses because once you get screwed, you say, I'll never do that. So let's all be safe with wallets and with our tokens. Now we did do tokens. I did not emphasize cryptocurrency in the course whatsoever. I didn't want to. I wanted to show the other side of the blockchain, one of the really cool applications. But I would be remiss in my duties if I did not show them cryptocurrencies, both in how to make them, how to use them, and then even the origins of blockchain, which comes from the cypherpunk movements on digital currency, and how it grew up to become blockchain, and how there are things called, I just started laughing on the previous presentations. Just because you say you're a utility token doesn't mean you're a utility token and work for the SEC and we're going to get you. So, you may have been in the same presentation. I went, oh my God, he just quoted me, who quoted him, who quoted me. We're in an infinite loop. We made a cryptocurrency ourselves for the class called Ramcoin, and we traded and bought and sold Ramcoin among each other, because the CSU Ram was our mascot. And talked about all the altcoins and altcoins. But then you've all heard of CryptoKitties, so I certainly hope it's on the next slide. And it's not, crap. Let's just pretend it was. I'll go back to this one. We made, not a CryptoKitty, we made a crypto RAM, a one-of-a-kind ECR721 token where there were very special things you could buy. If you didn't have any Ramcoin, you couldn't buy any. So we really showed how this stuff worked, if you remember, we bought several. The different themes we went through in one semester. Now let's talk about supply chain. Let's talk about what Hyperledger's strengths are. Let's compare it side by side with Ethereum, with Cardano, with the other technologies. Let's actually write a program in using Hyperledger Composer and Fabric, and we would use, I forget what else, components. They had a lab assignment to do something using Hyperledger. All right, we have an Internet of Things lab at Colorado State University. We've got a whole bunch of devices. I consider my own home an Internet of Things lab because I've got the Nest doorbell and thermostat, sprinkler system, I mean, all this stuff in my house. But the lab at CSU's got light bulbs to very dangerous things. We have an oil field. Seriously, we have an oil field with where we measure methane emissions and things like that, all run by SCADA devices. That's an Internet of Things. My cybersecurity course is designed to blow it up. Deadly serious again. We have a power plant, generators. Let's blow it up. I told you, Harry Potter. Dark side, defense against the dark arts. IOTA is blockchain for the Internet of Things. And if you know anything about the Internet of Things, it's not 100 devices, not thousands, it's billions of devices. Ethereum, Bitcoin, they don't come near to having scalability to handle the Internet of Things. IOTA is one approach on the table. Then I talked about, let's write a game using blockchain. Boy, does this game, back to my technical word, suck. Why? Because you can't move but every 15 seconds in Ethereum because they have to mine the block. Nobody who plays a game is going to live with that kind of constraint. So let's talk about off-chain transactions. And so you can see the breadth of the stuff they learned in this 17, 16 weeks. So the Lightning Network as an off-chain thing. Then I love that picture. Anonymity. Can you really hide? Can you really keep a digital identity safe? Can you really not be found by the FBI when you're doing ransomware and collecting money for your criminal activities? So we talk about the fact that the transactions and nothing on the blockchain is private. It is actually examinable by anybody. And so I showed them a really cool example where I put my password for a certain system in the blockchain, in the Solidity code, thinking it would be perfectly safe, and how to look at it using certain tools. Like, look, your It's exposed, you can see it. Everyone can see any transaction on a blockchain, be it Bitcoin or Ethereum. And with that, you can learn the secrets of patterns. I'm going to show you some patterns in a few minutes. So let me talk about Zcash, zero knowledge proofs and things like that. Can you hide and obfuscate the transactions, but still let them be enough visible that miners can say this is a valid transaction? So all about anonymity. It's a lot deeper technology subject than you could possibly imagine. And then, let them loose. They had to do a capstone project. Do something interesting. Let your imaginations go wild. We'll get to that in a moment. Of course, we had to have an exam, because that's what we professors do. So, oh, there's the darn thing. This is the cryptograms. So, totally useless picture with totally stupid names, and everyone is unique Bellatrix, another spike, lizard. Premium edition that were very expensive to buy. So, buying and selling one-of-a-kind tokens is one thing they learned. John Carpenter was kind enough to come and speak to the class and look at our term projects. Not rate them so much as give very insightful comments from the outside world as opposed to just yet another professor commenting on the value of the work the students were inventing. My goal as a teacher is to raise the next generation of inventors. My generation, we took the internet to where it is today. We think this is the coolest thing on the planet. 40 years from now, this will be in a museum just like the mainframes I used to work on in museums today. This thing, 40 years from now, I hope my students are saying, oh God, what a piece of trash. We had to use these things, and the bandwidth was so slow, and I couldn't only do limited things. Look what we can do now. Whose job is it to create? They're the ones that are going to create the future. My job is to facilitate their learning so they can do that. To have the energy, the enthusiasm, the curiosity, that's the outcome I want from my students. Think big, stay curious, make a difference, and have fun doing it. That's the theme of the class. So these people came and helped. I mentioned some of them. These term projects. Variety of term projects, usually 2 or 3 people. Some stuff in supply chains. For example, in metal, you just heard from the previous speakers about how important metal and metallurgy is for the oil industry. Well, there's one of the guys actually, he worked in the steel and iron industry. He says, do you know how much fraud there is in steel grade qualities? He says, we need supply chain management for that. Avocado chain. SNAP benefits. Cap and trade carbon offsets. They did games, raffles, crowdfunding, content ownership, employment histories. One, and only one project, actually went into the science rather than the applications and invented a whole bunch of measurements for how effective these algorithms are for providing consensus. Arbitrage was an interesting one, intellectual property ownership, and even music streaming. When the students walked into the class, what is blockchain? What is blockchain? It's this. What a difference 16 weeks made. So, my favorite question for any student when they talk to me about, I think I have an idea. Oh, tell me about it. Well, it's got a gigabyte per fortnight with a Framus, and it's got a thingy bobber here that does this. It's very nice you explain to me how it works. I have a different question for you. Why would I care? They all look at what? Says, yeah, if you have a technology idea, you want to start a business, people don't care how it works. They want to know, does it provide any value? Does it solve a problem? Does it create an opportunity? It's called the so what question. And I have a million ways to ask it that drives me nuts. Little questions like teenage sarcasm style. And I would care because, you know teenage sarcasm. Or people would willingly open their wallets and give you money because, and you can't explain it with technology at that point. You have to translate technology to value. So, the so what question, a couple of other dimensions. My class, the challenge from when they came in to separate the hype from the reality, to separate blockchain from Bitcoin, and say what else going to do was, it's way more than Bitcoin. That's the so what on the technology. But from the outside world, so what that I offered a course, and so what that you're in this audience right here, right now, was I just unleashed the whirlwind, the BLOCK-NADO, of 60 students, motivated, trained, ready to enter the workforce, that know how to be developers and the business aspects as well. if you look at the audience at this particular conference, it's amazing. It's a very different conference. There are people here from law, finance, you name it. We have anything from nuts to nerds here. It's a mixed bag of business and technology. You very rarely see that at a conference. Usually conferences are very homogenous. Yes, we're here to discuss the internet technology for such a, well, that's exciting. This is a very cool conference. That's the so what. But there's one more thing I want to bring up. What else does a university do besides teach students? Research. I'm training, as I said, the next generation of people to create the future. That's my job. And part of that job is research. So I have one of my students in the back here, Sean Thunderburst. He is an undergrad, he's a senior, he's about to graduate this December, he thinks. Sorry, Sean. I hope so. And this is one of, he liked this course so much, he took it beyond his capstone project, and he's going to show you, he's doing an independent studies project with me this semester. It is not well baked. This project is 3 weeks old. But it's interesting in the sense that what we're going to do is show you analytics, visualization. How do we look at some data from a blockchain, not the blocks block by block, but the transactions wallet to wallet? And does the visualization give you any insights? And the answer is sort of, it's kind of ugly too. But this is just the beginnings. We've talked, Sean and I, endlessly about how we're going to make this improve over time, because research is inventing and discovering and making experiments the same way. Back to my technical, that thing really sucks, but let's do it this way. Oh, that's much better. I'm getting insights now. That's the game that we play. So Sean, you're on.
All right. So we've got here, every single node on the graph here is an address, and they're colored by the last 4 digits of the hex of the block that they most recently made a transaction on. So, and it's going to be updated in real time, so once more blocks are mined, they'll go ahead and appear. And the colored coding here is the teal or cyan ones are actually zero-value smart contract interactions. The red nodes are less than 1 Ethereum, but actually sending a value. And then the green nodes are trades that are over 1 Ethereum.
So this is a wallet to wallet going this way, sending Ethereum this way, and it actually has value, as you said.
And then so we have a way we can, it's really hard to see on the screen up there, so we have a way we can scramble, so it's not duplicated on my laptop. I wasn't expecting this, I was expecting to be able to see over here. So within this we can hit the animate here, and you can see these guys are starting to move a little bit. It's they're just kind of pulling each other together so you can see where things are. We also have down below, we have all of the blocks as they're mined. They also appear down here, and you can click this to expand and see all of the transactions. So over here on the left is the value, and then you have the from address, the to address, and then over here, this is the information that actually invokes the stuff on the smart contract. This is what interacts with the API. And so you can follow one of these links, and it can take you to this website, Etherscan. They have more information about that, so you can follow up if you're curious about something. But also, if you wanted to try and isolate, this is really, where did my mouse go?
It disappeared. Move it a little bit. Oh gosh, it's hard to see.
Alright, so we can click on these nodes right here, and then down here, it'll tell us the address. We can click place, and we can replace that node over here. And let's see, so then it moved over there. So right now there's not a whole lot of activity going on that is super interesting. So I'm going to pull up a video that I have taken of some other activity.
Some of you are probably saying it looks like a bunch of spaghetti thrown on the floor, right? But it's really, this is how many active right now transactions are going on from one ID to another ID, from one wallet to another wallet. And the thing that visualizations would help you do is hopefully, as I said, to
Paused it and pulled them up on Etherscan to take a look at the interactions and everything. But as you can see, like, this is a lot of activity that just came up that you wouldn't be able to notice that something was going on because this is just blocks being mined, transactions being had. But when you can see it like this, all of a sudden you're like, it creates a curiosity of what's going on. And so I was kind of making this tool to be able to follow up on that what's going on question. And so then, you know, after I see him, I came down, I saw the color of the node. He was a little overlapped, so I was having trouble clicking on him. So I came down to these ones all the color. I saw all these scrum addresses were all the same. There were hundreds lined up. So I clicked one, and then, hey, this is who that was. They've registered their account as Etherscan. So we know who's making some of these transactions. We can get an idea of what is the topology of the economics going on in this market. And so that's kind of the goal for the tool, and the future work for the tool is we're going to make it so instead of just analyzing real-time activity, it's going to be a point and shoot at a window in time. And then we're also going to try and add on some features where we can grab addresses, wallet addresses, and monitor then through a window of time everyone they've interacted with. So that way we can actually start doing some analysis of, you know, theoretically like, well, who could this person have interacted with? Kind of answer the questions of if it was a black market, how can you trace it? How, you know, where could the money have gone? Where could it have come from? And so that was kind of the motivation for this visualization. And like I said, we started this as in a study that I'm doing with Dr. Gersch for the entire semester, but he told me I'd have a chance to come show it to you guys, so I worked real hard to get it to a point to show you in 3 weeks.
Some of the other things we found when we were running this, again, it's crude. It's just the beginning stages of something that could turn into something bigger. But we saw some flurry of activity and went, oh, that was a mining pool that just paid out. Things like that you don't see by looking at text. So visual cues. This is research. Will we find other things that we can do? Oh, I guess. So I just want to give you a flavor of some of the things we did. It was a 16-week course plus excellent students. So that's it. Time for questions. I think that's I'll be able to do it.
So, Joe, this is really impressive. And the course that you put together is a 17-week course. How did you learn how to do this? I mean, obviously, in order for you to teach it, you have to know how to do this.
I'm really smart.
I'm good at that.
But I started at a lot of scotch. So what I actually did was I brought the semester prior to the course 8 students together in another independent studies course and said, you look at Ethereum, you look at Remix, I split them up and said, go investigate these things because you're going to help me build this course. They gave me what they thought would be a really good outline for the course. They got modified, of course. But at that point, I really did have to learn all this stuff on my own. I bought, I don't know, I spent about $300 just on books. Read through them during the course of the summer after this conference last year and said, God, there's a lot to learn here. I mean, there is a lot to learn. And because you're right, I had to be the expert. So basically, I'm a human sponge. I'm driven by curiosity. And I just had to teach myself and then to teach others. But I brought in experts as well. I validated that what I was telling them was, I have to tell you the story. I like going to my class, and the last day of class, I unbutton my shirt and I take it off. And underneath it, I'm wearing a t-shirt that says, I make stuff up. just to give him confidence that everything I told him was the truth. I hope that answers your
That's good. Thanks. I'm curious I'm sorry.
Yeah, he was first.
Sorry.
Sure. So do you have this information, is it part of a closed network, meaning it's just through the school, or do you have it available outside, or any portion, or any?
So we are building a cybersecurity center of excellence at Colorado State University, being funded partly by the state. We're very intending to take this out. For example, the very first thing I'm doing, still inside the university, is going to the various other departments and running some seminars to say, blockchain, Bitcoin, right? You're from the ag school, you're from the vet school, you're from whatever. Why should you care about blockchain? So it's an outreach program to say, blockchain is bigger than Bitcoin. But then we're going to take the stuff I built and package it as mini seminars and workshops for certs or whatever for industry. And we'll be taking it around the state of Colorado. Last year I was honored. There are 63, 64 counties in Colorado. They had a conference of all the public trustees, so deed transfers and the county treasurers. The state Senate bill, they basically has said, we encourage you to adopt blockchain technology in your government departments. So they wrote to me and said, what's a blockchain? So I gave a whole presentation on just that. The whole idea being people really need to be educated on this, and yes, we will be packaging this as modules for kids.
Because other universities do offer courses that non-students can take.
Right, I do understand. There are other courses, some like, in near Niagara Falls, Boulder, not Boulder, Buffalo, their courses from the business school vary finance. Mine's a computer science course. It does cover business aspects, but it really gets into the guts. I think it's quite a bit different than most. So I stole from Berkeley, I stole from Stanford, I stole from, that gets back to your question. I steal a lot of material from a lot of other universities. Excuse me, I leveraged material.
It's all about reuse.
Sharing is caring.
And
I was just curious what the prereqs were for the course. Did they have to have
They
any
had
prior coding experience or?
I wanted to make sure they at least had my prior course in cybersecurity itself, so they didn't come in unfamiliar with what cryptography is all about, and digital signatures are all about. That was the only prereq. Other questions? Yes?
More specific for the model, probably, I don't know if you want to answer.